What is the most spectacular sight you have ever seen? Perhaps you've had the privilege of seeing one of the wonders of the ancient world, or the joy of visiting a breathtaking natural wonder. Or maybe the spectacular image that comes to your mind is your loved ones laughing together, or the beauty of the Yorkshire countryside. I ask a question which I'm not actually sure of the answer to for myself. I do love the wonder of nature, so would perhaps choose the beautiful sunset at the country park near home in Peterborough, or the face-to-face encounter I had with the giraffe in Kenya, or perhaps the grandeur of the Niagara Falls. We've always enjoyed seeing beautiful sights and are keen to share those sights with others. Photography, as we know it, began in the 1830s, and in 1894 the Royal Mail gave publishers permission to sell the first picture postcard. But now we do not have to wait for our photographs to develop or for the post to arrive to share what we have seen. Instantaneously, we can share the scene before us on social media for the whole world to see. In fact, the popularity of social media has meant that it was estimated in 2015 that more photos were taken in that 1 year than in the entire history of film photography. Some would say that we can be so obsessed with sharing what we have seen that we don't fully appreciate the view ourselves. To be present in the moment, but to also share the joy of that moment with others is the challenge. But whatever we choose as our most spectacular sight won't match up to the sight set before the disciples 40 days after the resurrection of Jesus. Acts chapter 1 verses 9 to 10 tell us this. The disciples saw Jesus being lifted into the sky and disappearing into a cloud. As they stared into the sky watching Jesus ascend, 2 men in white robes suddenly appeared beside them. As I think of that unfolding scene, I think of the days of balloon releases before the environmental impact was realised, when helium balloons were let go into the sky. We would crane our necks to look up as the balloons floated away, trying to catch the last glimpse before they seemingly vanished. But this ascension saw no balloons in the sky, but instead the body of Jesus. It would really be a moment of, I can't believe my eyes. But this spectacular sight is just the conclusion of many spectacular sights which unfolded around Jesus. Imagine the scene when a paralysed man got up, took his mat and walked. Imagine the picture when the turbulent waters stilled as Jesus calmed the storm. Imagine what your eyes would have seen as Jesus walked on water. Imagine the image of Jesus breathing his final breath on the cross. Imagine that spectacular sight when the crucified, risen Jesus greets you. And now there's another incredible image of Jesus ascending into heaven. Now we can only imagine, for we were not present, but we are gifted with the Gospels, eyewitness accounts of those spectacular sights. So much of what we learn in our lives is not necessarily through first-hand experience, but through the witness of others. We learn about world events through the reports of journalists. We discover our family history through the stories of older family members. We gain understanding of different lives through the tales of authors. Witnesses widen our worlds. Now, they say that a person's last words are a good indicator of what's important to that person. If you're on your deathbed, you're not going to be saying, "What have you done with my blue socks, love? I've got to have those socks. Where are they? Don't tell me the washing machine ate another pair of my socks. Oh, man." No. When you're about to leave this world, you want your last words to count. So when Jesus is about to leave this planet, what's on his mind? His last words on planet Earth are recorded in Acts 1 verse 8. "But you will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes upon you. And you will be my witnesses, telling people about me everywhere, in Jerusalem, throughout Judea, in Samaria, and to the ends of the earth." Jesus promises God's presence and his power through the Holy Spirit, and he calls his disciples to be his witnesses. A witness is defined as a person who declares as true that which he has seen, heard, or knows. It's as simple as that. In the words of catchphrase, we say what we see. The events of Jesus' life were spectacular, no doubt. But they could have been forgotten 2 millennia ago had it not been for the first disciples' unfaltering trust and bold obedience to speak of the wonders they had seen. The humble birth, life-transforming miracles, radical teaching, sacrificial crucifixion, glorious resurrection, and spectacular ascension are only ours to know because generation after generation of Jesus' followers have faithfully and lovingly and graciously witnessed to what they have seen and experienced. There's a story told that imagines Jesus returning to heaven and being interviewed by a TV reporter. The reporter begins, "You suffered so much and died for the whole world. What have you done about making known that love to all the people in the world?" Jesus responds, "I have asked Peter, John, Andrew, James, and others down there to make it known, and for the people they tell to tell others, and so on." "Yeah, but suppose they don't," continues the reporter. "I have no other plans," Jesus answers. Now, the wonder of Jesus is that with extravagant love, he draws us in, and with extravagant love, he sends us out to draw others in. I wonder, who first told you of the greatness of God's love? There are people who have gone before us that have told us of the stories of Jesus. They have been his witnesses. But more than that, they have told us the stories of Jesus in their lives. We are blessed with the Bible, which speaks of the spectacular sights as Jesus walked this earth. But we too have the privilege of seeing spectacular sights and experiencing spectacular wonders in our lives today. People can argue with the authenticity of the Bible, but they cannot dispute the story of God's presence in your life. Now, we love to share the spectacular sights we see, whether through an upload on Instagram, a family photo album, or picture postcards. But more spectacular than the highest mountain, the serenest sunset, and the most beautiful creature is the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus. What a wonder and a privilege, albeit a scary one sometimes, but to be called to share the spectacular story of God's love. As we look back with gratitude for the witnesses before us, may we be so convicted and transformed by the awesomeness of God's story that we cannot stop witnessing to his incredible beauty, love, and grace. I leave with you words of Madeleine L'Engle. We draw people to Christ not by loudly discrediting what they believe, by telling them how wrong they are and how right we are, but by showing them a light that is so lovely that they want with all their hearts to know the source of it. God bless you.